Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Irresistible and I'm a manifestation and soul realignment coach. My channel is geared towards helping you become your highest potential so that you can live and experience the extraordinary life that is your birthright. In today's video, I want to talk about revision. But before we get started, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so that you receive a notification anytime I upload a new video. So let's get started. If you've been a part of the Law of Assumption community, you would probably already know what revision is. Usually when we talk about manifesting, we are working on making a change in our current reality. And as you know, everything is now, but we perceive that we want to make a change in our future. In revision, it is exactly the same thing, except we are changing the past. It really is all the same thing, because whenever you are manifesting a change in the future, you are shifting into a timeline where you have what you want. And the thing you have to understand about shifting into a timeline or shifting into a parallel reality, everything is exactly the same, except you have that thing that you want. This is essentially how it's happening, and it all appears to be unfolding before you. You're shifting moment by moment, like literally moment by moment. You are shifting into a new reality based on where your assumptions are and your state of being. And it's exactly how you are manifesting. And it may not appear to be a visible change because it's happening in every moment. And so it appears to be something that happens gradually. It kind of unfolds before you. When it comes to revision, revision is going back into the past and revising a decision that you have made or taken in order to change its impact. And here, when I say this, I'm not referring to a change in perspective or a change in how you view the thing. It's a literal change. And I actually do have a couple of success stories from my own experience where I revised something, but I didn't actually know it was revision at the time. But now that I know what revision is, I can see that was what it was. In my mind, I manifested. And technically, you are manifesting. You're manifesting a change in your present by changing something in the past. So you're probably now thinking, okay, this sounds a little bit out there, and it may look like it's a bit out there, but it's really the same concept as manifesting. The thing you have to understand is when you go back in your memory, you think that past, what you have in your memory, and that's your only experience of it, is through your memory, or perhaps you have some videos you've taken of a past event, and that is really the only proof you have, and people's memories as well. So when you go back to an event and you change it, you change the way it happened in your memory, and there are ways to do this. You can do it through visualization, you can do it through affirmations. But when you go back to that, you are essentially shifting into a timeline where that did not happen. Now, you may still remember that it happened, but everyone around you will not remember that it happened. So let's give you an example. Let's say you had a huge fight with someone you care about, and you revise the thing just before the actual fight. And you do this, you change it in your memory. And then at some point, what you're doing is you're not changing the actual timeline you were on. You're shifting to a timeline where you never had that fight. And so everyone who remembers that would not remember it, that it happened. You literally would have changed. You're the one who remembers. Yes, you still remember that happened, but you're the only one who remembers. That's the really magical part of it, because if you don't remember, you wouldn't know you revised, right? So you remember it, but then everyone else does not remember it. Now, if you look on YouTube, you'll find multiple videos about revision, some crazy, amazing stuff out there. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. but I will tell you from my own experience 2 stories in which I revised and I actually didn't know that this is what I did. So a few years ago, I was taking this medication that was through prescription, and I could only take it by visiting a doctor. They had to write out a prescription, super strict here in Dubai, and you cannot get that without actually visiting a doctor and getting the prescription for that medication. And the medication was given to me over a period of 2 months, and it was a cycle that I was going through. I had to take it, I could not stop it. And the way I worked, for some reason, I miscalculated the appointment date of the doctor. And for me, the box contains 3 packets with 10 tablets each. So whenever I reach the last box, the second box, when I start the last packet, that's when I would get my appointment done with the doctor. And I, for some reason, made a mistake and I miscalculated. I was literally on my last 2 tablets thinking I still had 1 last packet. It was a mistake. And I had just 2 more tablets left. And it was too late for me to get an appointment with the doctor because she was fully booked. And on top of it, I was going to another city for that whole week and I was staying very late. So even if the doctor was available, I would have missed her. It was just next to impossible to get it done. So when I noticed this, it was in the morning before I went to work. And when I saw the fact that there was no more packets left, it was the last one, I had a sinking feeling in my heart and I couldn't bear to think about it. Like I had so much going on at work and I just couldn't think about it. And I searched and searched and I could not find the last, what I thought I still had. And so the only thing I could do is doing my bed. As I was doing my bed, my cat jumped on the bed and was playing with me. And he was such like a big personality cat, like really, he played like there's no tomorrow. And I was just playing with him and we were playing nonstop for like 10 minutes. Completely got my mind off the thing, completely. And I was just playing and laughing with him and he was just so cute. He's since left, but anyway, we were just playing and playing for like 10 minutes. I was in a super high vibe in that. It got my mind off the thing, like I literally forgot about it. And then the next thing I did was I went back for some reason. I don't know what made me do that. I'm like, let me check one last time. Maybe I will find that last packet of 10 tablets. And I opened the drawer. And I kid you not, I did not find the packet of 10 tablets. I found a brand new sealed box of 30 tablets. I kid you not. There was no way that was there before. That was not there. And like I'm telling you, I get 2 boxes per prescription. And it was sealed. I could not understand nor believe it. And there it was, a full box of 30 tablets. Like someone else the skeptic might say, yeah, you probably miscalculated. No, I did not miscalculate. I'm telling you that box was not there before. And when I was searching for that extra packet, I was searching for it. So for me, that was the first time I revised. And I did not know that this is what I did. Until now I know through the teachings of law of assumption that this is revision. Now, what I could have done back then was try to manifest an appointment with the doctor. Perhaps that's what I could have done. Or manifested having found the extra packet. But no, this had to happen for me to know that revision was possible when the time came. Because to be honest, had I not had that experience, I probably would not have been able to believe revision right away. Because when I learned about revision in the beginning, I had a little bit of resistance until I actually remembered those 2 cases where I did experience revision. So that's the first one. The second time I experienced revision was a time after that incident. I was going to the doctor for a checkup, and they had to do some tests as part of routine, and they came up with a diagnosis of something that was, it was something rather scary, let's put it that way. And like the whole thing, and when the doctor was telling me, she wouldn't tell me over the phone. I had to go to her, to the doctor. This is another doctor, this is something else. And she was telling me, well, we found this and we really need to do some tests, and this is very serious. And I was looking at her, I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, why would I have manifested this, right? Because I already knew about manifesting. And I went home and I went back to her and we did some additional tests, and it was like an ordeal. And in my mind, what I did was I got my mind off of it. I'm like, no, everything's perfect, everything, I'm healthy, all is well in my world, I'm healthy, I'm well. I just shifted away from it. And actually that's exactly what I did in the previous example as well. I kind of got distracted with my cat, I got off the topic, I shifted away from it. And that's really how I generally do things. Like, I do look away and say, no, think positive, everything's okay, it's all good, it's all well. I really do avoid over focusing, though sometimes we do focus on things more than others. But I was able to shift away from that. And the doctor called me back. Now, supposedly I had a diagnosis, and the tests were all part of the procedure that I needed to do as a result of it. And she told me, Mona, I'm so sorry, but we actually made a mistake. We misdiagnosed this whole thing, even though I had done a procedure for it, right? There was a procedure I did. It's just like, we misdiagnosed this whole thing. It was an error. I sincerely apologize for everything. I'm just sitting there on the phone listening to her. I'm like, yeah, okay, so there's no problem. She's like, no, I'm really sorry. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. And I did not ask any more questions. And of course, I actually did, like several years later, I went to another doctor and I mentioned that whole incident. Oh, they did this procedure and they were telling me that I had this. And she's like, oh, well, we'll have to look at that. And she came back to me again, reconfirming that there was none of that. So, like, it's not like she, I never followed up on it. I did, you do this as a human when you go, and it's like, no, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing going on. And so this was the second time. And here I did revise, because when I'm telling you, like, she told me these are the results of the whatever the test they did, and then I had to do some kind of a procedure in the process, and it all came out to be an absolute wrong diagnosis, literally. Like, how does this ever happen? I mean, you can always say this happens, but in the end, I revised that. So when it comes to actual revision techniques, there are different ways in which you can do them. Now, in the ways I explained, I literally did not do anything because I didn't know I was revising. For me, I was just getting off the topic. I just shifted my thoughts away from it, and boom, it happened. Like that box of medication that suddenly 30 tablets came out of nowhere. That was a revision. So essentially, it's almost like I got 3 boxes instead of 2, which never happened. Or my whole appointment was like 1 month earlier instead of 2 months. So that is the part that was revised. Somehow, some way, I found a full box of tablets for me available. Where the diagnosis happened, I revised the whole diagnosis that came up. I changed it. Now, when it comes to revising something that already happened in your past and you want to consciously go back and revise it, you can absolutely do that. So let's say we go back to the example where someone had a big fight with her boyfriend or her husband and it caused a split of some sort, and she wanted to revise that. What she could do is do visualization. She can do this in one of 2 ways. She can do a visualization where she goes to the moment right before the fight and she changes something in her memory that causes the outcome to play out differently. The fight never happened. Or Whatever they were arguing about, she could have, for example, diluted it. Whatever she is comfortable doing, she can go back and revise in her memory. And that's all she needs to do. According to Neville Goddard, that's all you need to do. You go back to the moment before the incident where that kind of causes a split in the timeline, and then you go down that way instead of that way. And that's all you need to do, and just keep that, envisioning that for several nights in a row as you're going to sleep. And then you would have shifted into the timeline where that never happened. So if that caused the breakup, it would have reversed it, literally. Like, he can call her and literally not remember that happening, or okay, they're on the verge, so she's married, they're on the verge of breaking up, that would reverse the breakup. He would not even mention it. It, like, literally the whole outcome would change. That's the first thing that you could do. The second thing, because sometimes people don't like to go back to the scene where that, especially where there's a lot of emotions. So you don't want to go back and relive that scene. It kind of takes you there. And I've had an incident happen several months ago that was really, it's very emotional. Like, I find it difficult to go back to that. So if I wanted to revise that situation, and I may actually do it, I may try it out, I would affirm for it. So I would affirm that never happened. Let's say I had a fight with someone, we've always been close, we've always been friends, we've always had a great relationship. That never happened, never happened. We have a great relationship. We're absolutely on very good terms. It's all perfect. We're all good. Everything is fine. And you can just keep affirming for that. Another way you can revise through affirmations, let's say you're someone who's been rejected constantly in your past and you have not had the relationships you've wanted. You can go back and revise through this one affirmation that says, I've always been chosen and pursued and loved. I've always had amazing relationships. My relationships have always been just perfect and ideal. So you're revising by saying these affirmations and saying as if that's always been the case. So automatically you're shifting into a timeline where that has always been the case. Now you might say, well, I remember being rejected. Actually, you may still remember that you've been rejected, but the blocks that are there around that situation are no longer there, if that makes sense. So even if you've shifted and you still remember the rejection, the blocks, the emotional blocks, the issues that you have around it will no longer be there. This also applies to money, it applies to anything. Health issues, I've always been super healthy. I've always been in perfect health. I've always been in perfect shape. So you can revise that. And again, the blocks are the things that are released. So you no longer have that in your assumptions. Revision is really super powerful. I hope you liked this video. I really recommend you try these out. Try them out with small things. You don't have to believe it. Just repeat the affirmations or repeat the visualization as I described in the 2 techniques. Just keep doing it, keep persisting. And the thing is, don't go searching for it. Don't go searching for the outcome as you would do when you're manifesting. You don't go to the 3D and search. It will make itself visible to you, literally, as that box of medication did and as that doctor called me and told me. So you're not going searching because you may have resistance when you're doing it. It's not time yet. So you have to allow it to unfold before you. I highly recommend you try this out. It truly is a magical thing that you can experience. If you like this video, then please hit the thumbs up. And if you've ever revised anything, please do share it in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.